its first police marshal, George W. Renwick. Over the years, the title of the head law enforcement officer changed from marshal to chief. And although the role has expanded, one duty has remained consistent: to ensure law and order for the citizens of Elgin.
It's time now for Fridays with the Finest, featuring Elgin's current police chief, Deano Lalley, on Elgin's hometown radio station since 1949, WRMN AM 1410 and 96.7 FM.
And good morning, everybody. We are here today with Chief Deano Lalley, which is Friday with the Finest. Chief, how you doing today? Nice to see you again. I couldn't be any better. Any better, I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
I guess that's a good spot to be in, right?
Yeah, why not? Of course. It's a nice sunshiny day. I hope crime is down. It seems like it's been lately.
Yeah, so, this is obviously, the first show that we're doing here without Mark, and so you are now going to be my co-host going forward, so looking forward to it, and again, I really appreciated everything that Mark did for the Elgin Police Department, and, all the listeners, and so, as you kind of, and I know you would pop in once in a while, too, for him as well, so I think people are kind of used to you, and, so
Nobody gets used to me.
Well, I guess used to how you.
No, I got you. No, I'm saying.
But I think, nothing in terms of this show is going to change, so obviously anybody wants to call in and ask any questions, please do. I will be here every Friday, whether it's good news, bad news, or no news. So obviously there's things that, maybe there are some new listeners this week to WRMN because you have changed up some of the programming. So, if there are any new listeners, this show is just meant really to, make sure that we're providing and I'm providing the information in terms of what's happening in the police department, the community, if there's significant criminal incidents, crime, good things happening all throughout the city, great things with the police officers. And then obviously, these past couple shows, I have not brought any guests on with me as we kind of do this transition. But starting next week, I'm going to bring in Officer Josh Miller, actually Detective Josh Miller, who runs our Special Olympics. So there's a bunch of events coming up next week because next week is Law Enforcement Appreciation Week. That's the week we also do our memorial, so I'm going to talk about that today.
Perfect.
But, for the new listeners, I always bring people from the police department on so that people get to know who the people are behind the scenes. And obviously, in the next, couple of years here, the leadership of the police department will change. There's new supervisors. And so, this is really a way to kind of people to dip their toes into the public arena of, a lot of times, when I bring people on the show, they're nervous. I don't want to talk a lot. It's live. And I said, yes, it is. And it can be a little bit of pressure. It's, there's no pressure when you're talking about great things happening. That's an easy conversation.
Oh, those are the best ones.
But there have been plenty of times throughout my time here as the police chief over the past 7 years where I've had to sit here and talk about some really difficult things, whether it was things
you're
happening.
Put into the hot seat. You're the representative of the whole department.
And, sometimes that is not an easy thing to do. But, I think in inviting people into this kind of arena and saying, but they can kind of, start slowly without,
Sure.
The first day that they're here and they're talking about an officer-involved shooting, right? So, there's a lot of different things, but I wanted to start off just talking about things going on.
We do have a caller, though.
Okay, great.
I just happened to check it out. So here we go. Go ahead, caller. You're on WRMN on with Fridays with the Finest, Chief Deano Lalley.
Hi, something unrelated. Just wanted to talk about a little bit of community cleanup going on this weekend. Just south of Route 20 along the Fox River and the bike path there. There is a preserve there. It's the part of the Kane County Forest Preserves there. Hasn't seen cleanup in probably over a decade, not any official cleanup, that is. Let me get you an address here real quickly. It's a rural route, and it's on Raymond Street. So it is on 9N888 Raymond Street, which is just south of the railroad tracks right there. So you got a lot of an industrial area kind of backing up to that and surrounding that area, and a lot of trash gets in there. You got some bridges right there, the old train bridge. You've got the bridge under 20 right there. That's, it kind of can be a wind tunnel. It's where a lot of trash can collect. So we have recruited the Kane County Forest Preserves. Rob Cleve is heading this first one. We're hoping to get this to be an area that sees regular cleanup. I have been trying this literally for years.
And give me your name again, please.
My name is Kelly.
Okay, Kelly. And how about a website if people wanted to check this out after the show?
Well, the problem with that, they're more than welcome to go to caneforest.com, and there is a list of events. However, Rob Cleve with the Forest Preserve told me that they would not be advertising this cleanup because it is a small parking lot right there, and we haven't quite figured out the logistics. When you're starting anything new,
Sure.
There's a lot of bumpiness to start. So we haven't quite figured out the logistics of where to, if we're going to do a big cleanup, there's not a lot of a parking area. The rural route I just gave you, 9N888 Raymond Street, there is a little gravel parking lot right there. They're not quite sure where they're going to put the heavy equipment. There is Purify Drive and Elgin Avenue right there that leads into the water reclamation and the ABC place.
I know exactly where you're speaking of. So what we'll do is we'll communicate this through the other shifts, and we'll try and get this message out. And when this will be taking place,
wonderful.
Is this weekend?
That is taking place this weekend. It's Saturday morning from 9 a.m. until noon. They are supposed to supply all the equipment. He's hoping to get 500 pounds of trash out of there, which would be wonderful. We're hoping in the future that we can connect with and collaborate with both ABC and the Water Reclamation District to possibly use part of their driveway, part of their parking lot to kind of get some equipment back in there further, so then that way we're not carrying tires too far.
Sounds
I know
good.
there's at least 3 tires back there, so I'm hoping to get as much as possible, and then continue on with a regular once a month kind of thing. So
sounds great, Kelly. Call in. Listen, anytime at all. You have any problem with getting a connection with anybody to get maybe some consideration to go down those areas? Give us a call back, and we'll be happy to make some introductions. Sound good?
All right. That sounds great. Thank you.
Thanks, Kelly. Have a great day.
All right. You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. Well,
back to
sounds like Kelly is
very passionate about this. I love it.
Leading up to charge. So thank you, Kelly, for your efforts and making sure that Elgin looks great. So,
and you brought something up too, like what you're saying about yourself and your job and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I've watched it for some time now, and you lead from behind. And a lot of people don't understand. What do you mean? Was she in the back doing nothing? No. You empower everybody, and that's why when you bring the people here, you're empowering them to do the next right thing by supporting them, getting them the resources, and not making the person the resource.
Yeah.
And people don't get that sometimes. And that goes back to your philosophy with the community policing and everything you've done. You're the source. You're the funnel. You'll get everything to the top by way of support and making all the ends that have to be made.
Yeah. No, I think, it's definitely, kind of just making sure that, people meet the other people in the police department and they kind of see the work that goes behind the scenes. And so I want to start off just talking about some things that will be coming up. And then first, let me start with congratulating Christy Schmidt. So Christy Schmidt has been, she is part of our community relations division. So any event that you see, major events, she's always involved in it. She runs our national night out. She's been on the radio show. Christy Schmidt has been in the police department for a very, very long time. So yesterday was the YWCA Awards, and she won the award for community service and community volunteerism. And I will tell you that award, that's a long time coming for her. She truly exemplifies, the spirit of, taking care of a community and being involved and giving and helping. And she's always available. So congratulations, Christy. If anyone knows her, send her an email, give her a phone call. She is truly an amazing woman. So I thank her for everything that she's done for the department, for the community.
I love to celebrate when people in the department get awards because I see the work every day, right?
Yes.
And I get to know these people for a very long time. And so I'm not surprised that she won the award. Like to me,
Right.
it's like, well, yeah, give it to her. It's a given. But so
When somebody else recognizes it
Yes.
and they give that award.
Yes.
So from all of us at WRMN, Christy Schmidt, congratulations and keep up the good work. Nice to be recognized.
Yes, exactly.
Although we
And,
know that's not why you're doing it.
no, not at all. And we also nominated, Christy was nominated by an outside organization. The department nominated Detective Shelley Mendiola we nominated her. Somebody else did receive the award. However, I still want to acknowledge the great work that Shelley does every single day. She's in our CCSU unit, dealing with a lot of different things. And she's been here for a very long time too. So I want to acknowledge the great work that she does and tell Shelley thank you for everything that she does. There's always next year, right?
All the time.
Just because you didn't win the award, we still appreciate it.
And you
In
don't
our
have-
minds, you're still an award winner.
Yeah, you don't have to win
Exactly.
the actual award in order to be a winner.
Exactly.
And be a leader. And being a leader, and especially in that division.
Yes, it's a lot. Yes.
That's a strain, man.
It's a lot. So, we recently had one of our detectives, Scott William, retired. He was a 30-year officer in the department, and he was in that unit. Kind of, he started in that unit, one of the founding officers. And so when people like that leave, there has to be people that step up to take those roles. And Shelley's been doing an exceptional job. So congratulations to both of them. I want to mention a couple things that Kids United is an event that we do every year in conjunction with School District U46. It's a summer program. So we just this week put out information on how you can register your child for Kids United. So the dates will be June 9th through August 4th. So it's a nice summer program. We do 4th to 6th graders, and this is a program that runs Monday through Friday, Monday through Thursday. They are at Abbott Middle School with police officers, social workers, community partners, doing everything, arts, crafts, teaching kids a bunch of stuff.
You can
life
send
skills.
us a flyer on that?
I will, and it's
We'll
also
be
on
sure
our.
to put it out to
Yep,
everybody.
thank you, and it's also on our social media. We posted it this week. And then if you have 7th graders, so there's 2 programs, 4th to 6th grade, which is from 3 to 5:30, and then starting at 6:30 until 9 are 7th graders, all the way up until 17.
Wow.
So Monday through Friday, thank you, School District U46. This program has been going on for over 20 years. We do get a grant from the Elgin Township that supports this endeavor, so thank you to them. And then, on Fridays, which the fun part of it is, on Fridays, the kids get to go to and have a field trip. So we've gone to everything from Chicago Fire soccer games to to the zoo to all these different places that people sometimes this program allows kids. We see a lot of our kids that are in our rope areas, which are resident officer programs. We see a lot of kids from those neighborhoods, and so this is a great way to expose kids to different things. And so that is coming up. That's a huge program that we do. I get asked all the time about how can I register? When is the program? Who do you take? Everything is online, and we'll make sure to give it the information to WRMN.
Please do. We'll get it out.
The other thing I wanted to talk about is next week. So Sunday starts National Police Week, and National Police Week really honors and recognizes the men and women in this profession, every week. So like last month, we had National Telecommunicators Week, National Animal Control Officer Week. So everybody has a week, right? This month is Social Workers Month. This is, so there's always something going on. And so this upcoming week, our main thing is that we invite the public to our ceremony. So our ceremony will be on Thursday, May 15th, starting at 2:30. It starts promptly at 2:30, and it will be between the Hemmons Auditorium and City Hall. So in the plaza over there. We did it last year. That was the first year we did it there, and it was received well. We used to do it in front of the station.
It's gotten too big.
It's gotten too big, and last year we were doing construction in front of the station. So this area is really, really nice. So that ceremony, it's about 15 minutes long. It is not long at all. But that time that we take to acknowledge officers that have lost their lives in the line of duty, and then also recognize and appreciate, current officers and retired officers and the sacrifices that police officers make for this career. And anybody that's been in the law enforcement profession for, I'm in my 30th year. I've seen people leave this career and, go on to do other things and be, very, happy people. And I've seen the opposite. I've seen people where, this profession has consumed them, their identity,
Yeah.
who they are. So when they don't have that connection, or if something bad happens, we do have people in our profession, suicides, that people, don't take care of themselves, both mentally and physically. This is a very stressful job, if you can imagine.
And things have come a long way. I was on in 82 is when I first started. Actually, it was about 81. It doesn't matter. But the point is, they didn't have the outreach that they have today. And to your point, some people get done with their tour, whether it's the full 20 or they, just say, hey, you know what, I can't take this no more.
Yes.
It was a lot for a lot of young officers and older officers years ago, because it's day to day to day. Sadly, you sometimes see people at their worst more often than the nice days.
Yes. And I think that, the things that we have done in this profession to encourage, to talk about mental wellness and to, have those hard conversations. When I was hired, that those conversations didn't happen. I mean, it was very
Tough it up, kid.
That's what it was.
All it was.
mean, and I will say this: there is still, I think, there's a little bit of a, when you go through that type of environment, it does build your resiliency. There's no doubt. I will tell you, officers who are in my generation, there is a little bit difference in their resiliency, right? And their ability to kind of go with the ebbs and flows and kind of ride the wave a little bit when it's kind of, it's going to be bad, but it'll get better. And now I think, and I'm not necessarily saying that that's because everyone is situational, and it's in relation to how you are as a person first, right? So I think people don't realize, like, first it's, what is your personality? How do you, maneuver through stress, endure things, hardships, adversity? That's what you then translate into your law enforcement profession. So as a person, if you're just a person that doesn't like conflict, you're conflict avoidant, anytime somebody makes a comment on social media that talks about how awful you are, your world is crumbling.
Knee-jerk,
That's a very different, and now you have to be now in a profession where the spotlight is constantly on you, right? So, you as a person defines who you are as an officer, and I think good and bad with that. So, it's definitely, this profession is in a much better place. We have mental health professionals on staff. We have a peer program. We have a Healthy Minds program. We officers can work out on their lunch break. They can. There's all these different programs that we have done over the past 10 years, I would say, really is when you started to kind of see this shift. And definitely the last 5 years, where it's more of a thing now, where it's expected. So, and again, I've had conversations with people who are my generation, and, this younger generation, they don't get it. Some things they don't get, right? And that's where we have to teach, mentor, guide, encourage, right? And also not be afraid to, set the bar higher for people. I think sometimes the status quo of, like, let's just kind of just coast, because when you just coast and you put blinders on, you receive no criticism, right?
Yes.
You just kind of are there. And I always tell people, you have to pick a lane, and because then you don't get the benefit of either if you stay in the middle, right? Whether it's good or bad. So in this profession, if you choose to
take a stance, make a decision.
Exactly. It doesn't mean that
with it.
people who are in disagreement can't get along. I think those are the best relationships. But that week, next week, is really just to kind of say, acknowledge and recognize.
And that's for your on the 15th.
Yes,
that's strictly Elgin.
That's strictly
only.
Elgin. We do invite the area departments and other people. So we do have a great showing. Council people come, community members come. And again, it's a nice way that the officers can see, the appreciation, the very visual appreciation. The Elgin community, they are awesome, right? And I will tell you, whether it's good things happening or bad things happening, I have never felt a sense of disconnect with the Elgin community.
Oh no,
right? I love
especially
them,
when things
but
go
either
south.
good or bad. But I love them. They're great. They
really are.
And I think sometimes, you to have officers see that very visual representation of these are your community members who do support you, right? They may be critical. That's okay, right? They should expect the best from the department. I agree with that, right? You should ask us. You should criticize us. You should, positively, constructively.
Constructively, the
But
key.
the bar should be very high, and that
is.
standard, should be something that every day we're trying to achieve. So next week is a great week. When you see a police officer in Elgin, tell them thank you. Don't. And I always tell the community this: that wave, that smile, that hey, thank you. It does go a long way. Like, never underestimate the value in that. I think a lot of times people, even when people say to me, thank you for your service and thank you for what you do, I'm a little bit like that. No, like, thank you for what you do, and I appreciate the support of the community, because you got to stay humble in this profession, right? And so, but I truly do appreciate and recognize the importance of those few brief moments where somebody does say thank you, because they don't have to do that. The opposite could be like they give you the finger, right?
Well, sure.
If they do.
And the wave of police work has really changed. I mean, just go from the 50s to now. 50s
Yes.
is quite a span. But in the 50s and the 60s, part of the 70s, they were hiring because they thought, well, we'll get ex-military and
Yes.
we'll get people that have maybe an MP background, and that's what we need, and that's what we have to have. And then you come to find out, well, maybe you don't need so much enforcement as much as you need that listening skill.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The balanced officer. When we hire officers, and I get people who ask me, what are the qualities, you as the police chief? What are the qualities that you look for in an Elgin police officer? And I always say it's very simple, right? First and foremost, for me, it's intelligence, intellect, right? That is such an undervalued quality, I believe, right? The person that can, because I think the true test of a person is, can you sit there and listen to somebody who's giving you a different opinion without getting mad, right? That comes back to your emotional intelligence, your intellect, your ability to, take a bunch of information, listen to what they're saying, and not have this immediate reaction. And the balance, the best officer for me is the officer that understands the tactics, right? So they're tactically sound. They can handle an active shooter event. They can handle any type of, very critical incident. They keep calm. They're cool. They're composed. They're making that arrest without, dropping F-bombs. And then couple that with that same person can be out in the community engaging with little kids, with community members.
I was just going to say,
right?
Little kid lost her dog or
Yes.
something fell down the drain.
Yes.
Empathy is the
when
key
you
word.
have that marriage of that type of person, that is the best officer. And we have so many of them in the Elgin Police Department. A lot of them are learning their new skills, right? Some are more tactically sound, and they're working on the kind of the community side, because naturally, if you're an extrovert, it's easy to engage with people. And you'll see some of our officers, they're just naturally, extroverted people.
Right.
The introverted ones are usually, those are the ones where, they're more quiet, but they do a really good job, right? But, I always encourage them, you need to let people see that other side of you. So
Otherwise, it's Joe Gannon. Just the facts, ma'am. Just the
yes,
facts.
and there's I will tell you, there are time and place for that, right?
Sure
Where
there
you
is.
need to be all about the business. But a vast majority of the time, when, and again, when people are calling the police department and they say, I need help, you're getting who you're getting, right? Like, you can't request, I would like, and then it's not like you're on DoorDash picking your order, right? I want this officer with this age, with this experience. You're getting who you're getting. So you might get the 30-year veteran, or you might get the brand new officer who's literally just been on their own for about 2 months. And, somebody walks in and you're like, this is the officer, right? Very young, very inexperienced. And so at the Elgin Police Department, anyone that gets hired there, that brand new officer is treated the same way as a 30-year veteran, right?
Right.
The expectation is that you will deliver the best service. You will constantly be learning. We are professionals. And I think a lot of times, that balance is hard for some people, like
They're either checked out to be on the street on their own, and you have you have SPs, supervisors,
we do. So yeah,
patrolmen,
we have sergeants.
or whatever
we
you have.
Yeah.
So you have someone that's going through the training process, And that officer, young officer, put in their time, the ride along with everybody, the observation for maybe another month. Once you're comfortable that, hey, they got this.
That's it.
They
Then you
have
got to
it.
go. And they don't,
right.
nobody cares that you've only been, when you show up to a call, no one cares that you've been an officer for 1 week, like on your own. They're going to say, I don't care, right? I need you to handle my problem, and I need it to be done the best way possible. So you have to ensure that, the officers that we do, that do work here at the Elgin, we've had officers that get hired and they don't make it, right? Our philosophy is very different. The expectation is too high. But, the people that do make it here, the bar set, I always tell people when they want to come in, we do these open houses for people who want to apply. And I give my, my speech, and I talk to them, and I say, the bar is very high here. If you don't want to be challenged, if you don't want to be questioned, if you don't want to continue to work on yourself and truly endear yourself to the community, this is not the right department for you. And in that case, there's no hard feelings, right? Yes, it's all me in this relationship. Yes, blame everything on me, and I'm good with that, right? Because you can't work here at this department if it's not the qualities that that you don't possess.
And cold as it sounds, it's almost like it's their job to lose. You know what I mean?
Oh God, yes,
I mean, it's theirs to lose.
Yeah.
You're given every tool, you're given every guidance that's out there and available to them. What they do with it is what they do with it, and you really don't know.
You got to make the most of the opportunity, right? And so I always tell people too, I can't give to you what you won't give to yourself.
There you go.
It's very simple. So, but we have a couple minutes here. So next week, please stop by Thursday, May 15th, 2:30, between City Hall and the Hemmons Auditorium. I want to mention too, we are hiring for our communications center. So we just posted something this week. Telecommunicators, very, very hard job. I appreciate the men and women who do that job. If you're interested, check out our the hiring flyer and our website, Join EPD, for more information on that. Also, very quickly, because I feel I need to say it, although I probably shouldn't say it, but I'm going to say it. I do always talk about our shots fired incidents. So year to date, we are at 9. And last year at this time, we were at 28. So again, I'm going to just say that of those 9 incidents, 3 cases, arrests have been made. 3 are still under investigation, and 3 we have closed because there are no further investigative leads. Again, I've been asked, have we done something different from last year? We have not. We have continued to, be persistent in making great arrests, working with our federal partners, talking about the issues, doing directed patrols, really kind of, continuing with the same strategy that we've had for many years. But, there are times when I had to go on the show and we were very high, right? So I feel the need to just say that.
You're more than half below.
We are. And so that's all I'm really going to say about it, because I also, don't want to, but I feel that the community should know that, because obviously, whether we were high, low, even, whatever, I want people to know. And all that information can be found on our transparency site. And then last but not least, obviously Sunday is Mother's Day. So, happy Mother's Day to all the moms.
Happy Mother's Day
within
to
the
all
Elgin
moms.
Police Department, within the city of Elgin. So I hope you have a beautiful day and get to enjoy time with your friends and your family. And I think that those are the things that I want to cover.
Yeah, I think you've hit a lot. We've got a lot done today. Anybody has a quick phone call they want to make, 847-931-1410. One more time, a quick shout out to Christy Schmidt and Detective Shelley. Congratulations on that award that you received, Christy, and Detective Shelley. You're recognized with or without, and you've done a great job, outstanding job. The chief says so.
Yes, congratulations, ladies. And again, the Elgin Police Department is extremely fortunate to have you and the Elgin community. Next week, also Friday, Cop on Top. So that is that kicks off some of our Special Olympics fundraising. Detective Josh Miller is taking over for the past, I want to say 4 or 5 years, and has just really, he is unbelievable. And the amount of money that has been raised. The Elgin Police Department has been involved in Special Olympics since I've been here for over 30 years.
Is there still a torch run?
There is. Every year, the run, each department, it goes somewhere in Kane County.
That was Special Olympics as well.
That is Special Olympics. But our main things are the Polar Plunge, which happens in January, February, and then Cop on Top. So that will be next Friday at Dunkin' Donuts locations. We will be posting information on our social media, but next Friday, Josh will be here. But in the morning on Friday,
stop by a Dunkin' Donuts, support Special Olympics, the Elgin Police Department, and I hope everyone has a great, safe weekend.
And remember, May 15th, National Police Week, everybody. Let's support the Elgin Police Department. Let's get out there at 2:30, right in between the City Hall and the
And the Hemmons.
And the Hemmons. So, Chief, thank you once again for being on here. You're welcome anytime. You don't have to just have this time here on Fridays, and we appreciate all that you do for our community.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Be safe. God bless.